Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time here, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, looking through the markets and finding those opportunities to bring to you here on YouTube. And on YouTube, somebody left a comment asking for an analysis of NVIDIA. So I'd like to provide some technical analysis and commentary on NVIDIA stock. So with NVIDIA stock, I think that we can take a reasonable look at what to expect between now and their earnings coming up on August the 23rd. So with that said, I want you to think of this. If your local butcher advertises that he has pig's feet, tell him to put on shoes and no one will notice. NVIDIA has been the stock market sweetheart for pretty much everything AI. There's been a lot of hype and we see it in their price action. We know that they're there to capitalize, and a lot of excitement has been made about their technology that they have both on the hardware and the software side, and they are just a massive and profitable company that has up to like a 50% revenue increase from the previous quarter that's projected by NVIDIA themselves, give or take 2%. So they were at about $7 billion in revenue. Now they're moving up to about $11 billion in revenue. And so that, like I said, about a 50% jump. And well, I'll put out an earnings projection for that on the Patreon, and you can find that link down in the description. It's not prepared yet, although it is one that I am putting together for exclusive access, early access to on the Patreon. You can also do that. In this video, I'll be featuring the Moomoo app, and I will tell you how you can get up to 16 free stocks by using my link that's also down in the description. For right now, I want to draw your attention to NVIDIA's investor relations page, because under events, August 23rd, and this is probably after the market closes, we get NVIDIA's second quarter for fiscal year 2024. So for their fiscal calendar, it's always 1 year ahead of the current year that we're in. So even though we just finished up quarter two of 2023, the fiscal year for them is always, like I said, 1 year ahead. And I'm still not sure why fiscal years are a thing. It just seems to really confuse the point of what we're talking about, but that's what we have. So with those earnings coming up, I think that's highly impactful to talk about what we see currently happening with their stock price and what's going to happen near that earnings date. And like I said, in a future video, I will talk more about my earnings commentary, my NVIDIA stock price prediction that I have following the earnings coming out, and also the earnings projection for NVIDIA in a future video. It'll show up on the Patreon first, and the spreadsheet will be accessible through the Patreon. But that's not what this video is about. This video, like I said, is more about talking about the current price action, what I think is going to happen running up to those earnings. So let me bring up Moomoo. So here's the chart that we're looking at for NVIDIA, and you can see from this long time out that we have right here, this goes all the way back to 2019 through 2023, and it's been quite a journey. It looks really run up, and we do have a significant reason for this step change that we see for NVIDIA. Not only do we have the AI hype that allowed this run up in the first place, but you'll also see with this little E down here that it aligns up with their earnings date. And not only did their earnings far surpass what they had projected it to be, but their revenue projection for the subsequent quarter, for this one coming up that gets reported on August the 23rd, is supposed to be 50% up from the last one. And they're already like a mature, well-established company with just an absolutely enormous market cap. As a matter of fact, I'll pop this out. Their current market cap is over $1 trillion. And when I first talked about NVIDIA on this channel this year in 2023, back in January, it was half that. So we went from being a $500 billion company up to over a $1 trillion market cap at its current price. And so let's zoom in to see the more recent price action that we have. So we peaked out at about $481 per share. Just shy of it is where we hit that high back here on July the 14th. And if I zoom out just a little bit, so it's easier to see a little bit more of what we have, we are actually riding in a bit of a bullish channel when we look at this. There we go. Now, even though we're riding in that bullish channel, is it something that we can expect to continue when we look at it? So let me click on that and move this a little bit, get my lines drawn a little bit better. There we go. And this one could probably come down just a little bit. There we are. I like the look of that a lot. Now, bullish channel, it is possible that we end up finding support bouncing off on the next trading day, and that would be just under $440 per share, which is quite a tumble from where we saw it at before. But remember, the markets have run way up. NVIDIA's stock price has run way up. So to give a little back after going up over $400 per share, I mean, just look at this run that it was on. It bottomed out down here back in October at $108 per share. So it has gone up 4x since that time, almost closer to 5x since that time. That is an incredible rise in price in a very short amount of time. Now, is it something that's going to hold out? And I think for that, we want to look more recently at this. Now, this candle that we have here sort of was at the top of things, and then these two candles could be the first two in a 3 black crows candlestick pattern. So one more long-bodied red candle could signal that reversal, especially if it drops us down through this diagonal support that we have here, which currently sits pretty much at the top of this and at the bottom of that. So right around $440 per share is currently we're finding just a little bit of support. But like I said, it is possible. And I think it's really going to depend on what the market does on Monday. I think right now NVIDIA might go status quo. And I don't think that this is really a firm support that we have here. Now, in terms of firm support, where do we find it? I think we find it right around $425 per share, right around where we started at last time. I think that there's even better support to be found around $400 per share. And I know that that's a 10% drop from where we're at for right now. But if the market does pull back and drags down on NVIDIA a little bit, we could certainly see 400. I don't think in these volatile times that it's out of the question to see something like that. I don't know that we get there. So a few things that make me think that we could. One, the stock has run way up. Two, the market's run way up. So that allows for, when the more run up you have without correction, the more it is that you could possibly correct from there. So I think between now and earnings, I think there's a decent possibility to see 400 again. And if we drop below 400, I think that we also have room down to this bottom that we had before, around 375. Don't forget about the 50-day that we have coming up, which can also act as support for us, that we could bounce off that support on the 50-day as well, which is currently rocking right around $392, $393 per share. So as another day gets added on, the 50-day is going to keep on pushing up a little bit, and they could meet each other right around that $400 mark. So that's something to also consider. So could there be some softness in NVIDIA's price between now and earnings? Absolutely, there could be some of that softness. We also have a little bit of bearish divergence happening here in the RSI. And if we get another red candle day, large body red candle that opens around where this most previous close was, right around like 450 down to 445, or even lower than that, get a large body red candle, that would be that third black crow, which, like I said, is a bearish reversal pattern. That could happen, and I don't think it drops us down and that NVIDIA is over and that we lose a lot of money on this one. But I do think that it is something to be cautious of and to watch out for. So we could see that in the short term, but I also think, and this is important, so I hope that you stuck around this long, I also think that because there is so much darn hype around NVIDIA leading up to earnings and the expectation for earnings to be absolutely incredible and off the chain for NVIDIA, that it is possible that we see $500 per share leading up to earnings. And that 500 could happen, absolutely could happen on the day of earnings on August the 23rd itself. So you can mark that on your calendar. You can write it down. Matter of fact, here, while you're writing it down, I'll give you my most handsome face, and you can pause the video, and I'll even put me on the big screen so you can see it. So write it down, August the 23rd, possibly up to $500 per share, running up to earnings. There you go. I hope that you wrote that down. And you can even put my name by it. Dr. Stock says that we could see that $500 run up leading up to earnings, which would be incredible from where it's at right now. That'd be about 10% up from where it's at right now. I don't know that we see it, but given the hype, given the excitement around AI, NVIDIA's position in the AI space, they are the leaders right now in the publicly traded space for AI infrastructure and also software, modeling, you name it. Like they are the go-to company, in my opinion. And Elon Musk also seems to think so. As a matter of fact, he's trying to get his hands on more NVIDIA chips to take pressure off of Dojo itself instead of their in-house ASIC chips that they have. I think that they still call them ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits, them specified for video versus generalized AI, which is more of what we see with the H100s through NVIDIA. In any case, moving on from there. So for earnings, what happens then following earnings? Well, if we do run up to that $500 per share for NVIDIA, leading up to earnings, I think even if we go over that, I think if we see a massive run up in stock price for NVIDIA leading up to earnings, that is just going to be like what we had happen with Tesla. I think that we're going to see a sell-off as people lock in profits and leave other people who bought at the top holding the bag. Now, something that could break that would be an absolutely incredible surprise to the upside for NVIDIA. So if they get very strong beats in their revenue and in their profit and their forward-looking guidance, and maybe they give us end of year, fiscal year 2024, which would be the end of 2023's for the calendar year, those are things that could possibly allow it to spike up even further before finally experiencing some softening. But I do think that there's a strong possibility that we have a run up to earnings that could see $500 per share pop up, which would be, let me see, so we went up to almost 500 already. So that would be up another 4% from its all-time high of just over $480 per share. So just keep that in mind, that we could possibly see another 4 to 5% over the current all-time high to a new all-time high leading up to earnings, with possibly a sell-off afterwards. So I did tell you that with Moomoo you get up to 16 free stocks. Here's how you get access to those free stocks. Use my link down in the description. You get stocks valued from $2 up to $2,000. $100 deposit gets you 5 free stocks and a $50 cash reward. So you're already getting 50% to the upside. On top of that, you're also getting 5 free stocks and 15 free stocks for the $1,000. You still get the $50 cash reward. And if you do a deposit of $5,000 or more, you get the 15 free stocks, the $50 cash reward, and on top of that, a free share of Tesla and a share of EXP. And if you watch my earnings projection that I have for Tesla and my Tesla stock price prediction, you'll also see that by 2030, they expect it to nearly 5x from its current price. So that would really be an added bonus to what you would have. That'd be another 33% gain onto that $5,000 deposit. So just something to consider. That's assuming that we actually hit that for Tesla, and there's a lot of assumptions that are built into it. It's possible that it doesn't hit that. It's possible that it goes over that. There's never any guarantee of profit, but based on my projections, go back and watch my Tesla videos. I know earnings have happened, but I think it's still something that's very worthwhile. So make sure that you check that out. All right, I want to summarize for you for NVIDIA. I think we could continue to experience some softness in the stock price for NVIDIA. We might stay in the bullish channel, so it could bounce from here and make that run up to 500 early, or we could pass down through the lower side of the channel and we could possibly see 425, maybe all the way down to 400. I'd be surprised to see us break through 400. I think the market would really have to drag down on it to see that happen. I very strongly think that we could have a huge run up in NVIDIA stock price. So imagine this would probably be the extreme scenario. Okay, so I say extreme because I don't want you to see dollar signs in your eye and say Dr. Stock promised us this is going to happen, because I'm not. But if we did see a really big drop in NVIDIA's stock price, I think that we still could see that really big push up. So imagine that we drop down to 400 and then we have that push up to 500 in between. That'd be a 25% net difference between those two, that you have that $100 gain from that $400 stock price in about a month's time from where, because as of recording this video, it's July 23rd. So August 23rd is when the earnings announcement comes out. So at the lowest, I think we see 400. At the highest, I think we see 500, and that's between now and earnings for NVIDIA. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Hit the like button if you have, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, talk me down in the comments. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. What did you think of this video? Have you watched my other videos? What did you think of those? The 3-part series that I just put out, by the way, it was one long video that I chunked apart to make it more digestible. Watch that. There are just a ton of stocks in there that have a ton of opportunity still to go for them. So absolutely go back and watch those. Check out my videos on my Tesla's earning projection and my Tesla stock price predictions, and also be on the lookout for my NVIDIA stock price prediction that I have, my NVIDIA earnings projection coming out between now and NVIDIA earnings. Like I said, it'll be out first over at the Patreon. You can find that link down in the description. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.